Hey, it's Drybear. We need to talk about the resource drive event for Star Citizen and kind of just talk about where the state of the game is right now and what to expect with this, because this event has so much cool going for it, a bunch of new rewards that you can grant for free for just playing the game. It also is a reason to get a lot of players in one spot. So if you don't know what the resource drive event is, it is an event where you will, there are 4 corporations in Stanton that are competing to win the event based on how many SCU of cargo you deliver through various missions. And it's probably going to be about a month long. Like, it just launched a couple days ago, has been going for a little while, and then it probably goes for another couple weeks just to finish up. And honestly, it's pretty rare to see this many people bundled together in different areas. Even like the major spaceports, space stations, and landing areas in the Stanton system are all pretty congested, which has its host of problems, but it is quite cool at the same time because you see people with different ships and different backgrounds and different hangar setups that are coming together to do the event. But it does have a large list of very major problems. First and foremost is that this event, at least for right now, until they enable or add more of the combat missions, is all about cargo. And most of these, if not all of these, go to an outpost on a moon somewhere. So one of the outside non-major spaceport freight elevators. It relies almost exclusively on that, which honestly is a system that has had major flaws and problems for a very long time. So you're very lucky if you're able to find a freight elevator on an outpost that actually works well enough for you to be able to use it. You have situations like this elevator where the server thinks the elevator is down, the elevator is up on your client, it can't solve that problem, and so you get this delivery failed animation. Even if you get an elevator to work, you have to deal with other players. There's plenty of cases of players ramming their ship into other people's ships to just get them out of the way. I've had situations like this where people just started trying to take your crates for no reason. Like this, I was just doing the intro mission for this corporation. This guy just came over and just started yoinking my crates for no reason. I don't know why he's trying so hard to take my crates, but I've had this happen many times where people just show up and they start grabbing whatever they can so they can turn in more and try to take from you. So even like, I've even tried to like move my crates off of the elevator so that the elevator was free, but then you just have people, they're just trying to take everything they can. It's just a lawless wasteland at these outposts. Even though they are in an armistice zone where you can't shoot, there's still people that are going out in snub fighters and getting just outside of range of the armistice and blasting people's ships from a distance, especially as they come in on nav mode. You also have a bunch of abandoned ships all over the freight elevator locations as well. I had a situation where someone had crashed a Pisces rescue into the side of the elevator, and yes, because this Pisces rescue was leaning against the freight elevator was completely broken. I actually couldn't use it until I got this Pisces out of the way. But you have to be very careful about doing this, because if you remove someone else's ship that is still theirs the wrong way, it can very easily give you a crime stat, and you can't do these missions with a crime stat of 3 or higher. So in some cases you have to like literally use your ship to nudge abandoned ships out of the way, or you get dive bombed by other people that are actually just using their ships to kill other people or bombing the sites from a distance. And things keep getting worse and worse from that standpoint as well. This post from Zealous Ideal Age ended up showing this, where someone had picked up a capital ship and just started ramming people on the landing area. I've seen this with Polarises, I've seen this with Hercules, I've seen this with Idrises, any of the really large ships that can ram you without taking much damage themselves. You see a lot of this actually in the landing area. And in that clip I showed earlier where people were actually stealing my cargo, you can actually get credit for stolen cargo as well. So if you steal cargo from another player and turn it in yourself, you will get credit for the resource drive from that as well, which is incentivizing people to grief a little bit and do these kinds of things. Now, it hasn't all been griefing and bad. I've actually gotten into many situations here where I arrive late, someone's got the elevator in front of me, and so just rather than just sitting around wasting our time, a lot of us would go to whoever has the closest spot on the elevator and just help them, like just get them off the loading pad sooner and be able to get on to the next person. So like we have situations where I've had like 3 or 4 people bundling up together. We line up, you know, respectfully, we get in line for the freight elevator, and then we just start helping each other load. Like until you're done, you take off. But if there's other people in front of you, you get off and help them load as well, just to make it go faster. And I've had a lot of people that have like helped me get lost cargo that fell off my ship back onto my ship. I have had people been very respectful. People like helped fix elevators and stuff like that, and we've all just been collaborating. So this whole event has been a mixed bag of really good vibes, cool things to look at, going into stations and seeing tons of ships, landing and taking off and all the activity you see on the server, combined with a whole bunch of bugs, griefing, and other problems. Now, I think a lot of this will get alleviated by them turning the combat missions back on. There were supposed to be FPS missions where you can clear a bunker to be able to get that SCU and turn it in, abandoned ships that need to be recovered and get their cargo recovered and turn that in, or also these protect missions that you see on screen where you can go in, there's someone who has a disabled quantum drive, you have to get there, protect them from whoever's attacking them for long enough for them to repair their quantum drive, and they jump out of the location. And when they do, they turn their cargo in, and whatever they had on board that you protected now counts for you, and you get credit for that on the mission, which the first day a lot of us were doing. Like, I even have footage of this here, doing this whole mission. It was super fun. And then I guess they had a hotfix, and then there were issues with that specifically. They made it so it was unplayable. So now we're kind of stuck with the cargo missions that are making everyone bundle up on the outpost elevators. So what's my take on the event? I think that it is a great event that is doing really good things for Star Citizen, but also is highlighting two major problems that I think that hopefully they keep getting better over time, but as of right now are quite disappointing. The first one is that though this game is very old, I think it's very obvious that it still has a very large list of major blockers and problems in the game that make it hard to play if you're someone that's trying to play a finished experience. And I know a lot of the Star Citizen community is going to come at you and say, well, it's alpha, it's early access alpha, you can't expect things to work. But realistically, I think there needs to be a turning point sometime, right? At some point, CIG has to decide that they want to put Star Citizen on a trajectory to release a full version at some point, and they can't keep doing events like this without fixing the problems that are there, right? If you have an event that is based entirely, as it stands right now, entirely on using freight elevators at outposts, then you would think that they would do that to coincide with like a major overhaul or a rework to freight elevators in the game to make them work better so you could actually play the game and enjoy it. So I don't think it's acceptable for them to push out a major event like this, which is an event that you would expect to see in a fully launched functional game. Like, you would expect to see an event like this in a game that's been live, and this is like their big 2.0 release or something, or they're doing some kind of like big resource thing where everyone works together on a game that's fully functional. But to force everyone all in one place on one shard with elevators that they should know aren't working, because everyone's been saying they aren't working for the longest time. Like, unless I have to, I try to avoid outpost elevators at all costs because they are one of the most buggy things in the entire game. So basing an entire event around it either means that A, they're trying to get some very critical feedback on how they're breaking and to get more details on it, or B, they're just simply unaware that the elevators don't work very well and they're moving on anyways. And in both cases, I think that's a very major problem with development that needs to be solved, right? I think it's kind of irresponsible to release an event like this, as unstable as it actually is, unless you're trying to fix something. And if that's the case, they probably should just come out and say it. Otherwise, it's just going to, piss off the player base because you're releasing an event that's wholly incomplete and very, very broken. And it also just makes me worried for, at the point where they decide that they want to release a game. They are trying to release Squadron 42, their standalone like campaign story game that is supposed to be coming out before Star Citizen based on all the tech they've made for Star Citizen. But I feel like the challenge with something like that is that, like, if this is their form of a release, then they have major like live production pipeline decisions to come up on that help make the game become very stable. Because if this is their quality bar for what they're planning for Squadron 42, I worry that Squadron 42 is just going to fall flat, like the launch of like Cyberpunk 2077, where super cool concept, very cool game, looks really cool, runs like absolute dog water, and has tons of major issues, crashes, functions breaking, basic functionality in the game poorly implemented and not robust enough to deal with any kind of, congestion or scrutiny from the players. And like, even just normally using cargo grids and cargo elevators on outposts, it breaks like 60% of the time, and it requires the players to be essentially QA testers that are constantly trying to work around those bugs and those problems. And it just feels like the event itself, while very cool with really cool overall vibes to it, it just has so many limiting factors and bugs that make it hard to fully enjoy in its current state. And the other problem is just kind of doing very basic things that most online companies know nowadays to stop griefing or player behavior. You know, it's like things where like you just have people shooting at each other, ramming each other, breaking things, like intentionally. I've literally watched someone come in with a C2 Hercules, get their stuff off of a freight elevator, and then as they're leaving, they pick up an item and they throw it on the roof of the elevator, which bricks the elevator until someone finds that item. So they got what they needed, break the elevator, fly away, and they don't really care, right? So between like the Goomba stomping of the ships and everything, we do have a large number of very unsavory actors doing unsavory things that it's not on the players to solve that, right? It's on the developers to put limitations in game, restrictions in game to deal with it. And the problem is they definitely, you know, a lot of these areas are armistice zones, which means you can't bring your weapon out, but that means that the people that are circumventing the armistice zone can deal damage to you and attack you, and there's nothing you can do to fight back, right? Obviously, you probably don't want these major elevator areas to be, you know, in unprotected space with no armistice, because then it's just a free-for-all. Everyone's going to kill each other for elevators, but it doesn't mean like we're that far off from that reality anyways, as everyone, as you just saw, are sitting out of range of the armistice and shooting at each other with their ships. There are people that are going up in eclipses and bombing the area. There are people that are running into each other with ships. There are people that are griefing each other in PvE, blocking the elevator with ships, blocking the elevator with dead bodies, blocking the elevator with abandoned ships. I've seen people that fly in, get their stuff, and then they backspace, which is killing your character, and they fly away and claim their ship somewhere else. But the whole time they do that, their ship is left blocking the elevator and they couldn't care less. So all in all, again, it's a great event that's getting overshadowed a lot by some of the core fundamental issues with cargo, with missions that are limited by the number on the shard. It just feels like they've got a long way to go before they actually have a fully functioning, community-driven kind of game that can support activities like this. I'm glad that they're doing cool stuff and they're inspired by events like this, but events like this need to be accompanied with proper functionality, a good groundwork that allows you to do the event, as well as plenty of, you know, limitations and restrictions in place to prevent griefing and just general bad player behavior that should get punished if people are doing really annoying things. But let me know what your experience is with the Resource Drive event in Star Citizen down below, what tips you may have for people that are doing it, and kind of just what your vibe is on Star Citizen going forward. If you found value in today's video, leave a like down below, leave a comment for the algorithm to help this video get seen by more people, and don't forget to check out my other channels for other content and other stuff and other things.